We don't negotiate a nickel, not a cent, off of what they're getting.
If it would have been possible, we would have done it. And it is a great privilege to me, for me to work with this president to help repair the damage that was here when we took office. Yes. And I will do so as long as he asks me to do so, to the best of my ability, with great pride in this country and in him.
Again, I think you're punting the blame. I think you're trying to position yourself as the savior of the
you don't know me very well.
Institution. And yet,
you don't know me very well.
I believe that we're not getting the whole story. We're getting a lame story.
I work in the public interest. Officials of the Federal Reserve work for the public interest, and they work for the government.
But the people don't elect you. The heads of the feds around the country don't elect you. It's the individuals who sit on the board of the New York Fed that elect you. Is that correct?
It's slightly more complicated than that.
Where you discuss what AIG should or should not disclose to the public.
Mr. Chairman, as I said, I had no role in making those decisions.
Also, you had no knowledge of any cover-up, right? Or intent not to give full information and disclosure.
Of course not.
For whom did he work before you selected him as your chief of staff?
He worked for the president's transition team.
No, before that. Which Wall Street firm did he work for?
Before that, again, this is a matter of public record, and you know the answer to this question. He worked for Goldman Sachs. But
thank you very much. You answered my question, Mr. Secretary. Now let me say this: the AIG transaction. You have answered the question. You've answered the question.
You were either incompetent on the job, or you were not doing your job and knew what was taking place and tried to conceal it. And I think that's grounds for your removal.
Congressman, I was there. I know what I was responsible for. I take full responsibility, and I take great pride in those judgments.
The gentleman's time has expired, but the Secretary may answer the question as he sees fit.
He takes great pride in those judgments.
I do. I take great pride in those judgments.
We know that one of today's witnesses was the primary architect of the AIG trust agreement, whereby the taxpayers' investment in AIG is managed not in the interest of the U.S. taxpayers, but of the United States Treasury Department.
You made hundreds of calls, and the most, over 225, to Secretary Paulson, who was then Secretary of Treasury. What firm did he work for prior to his appointment as Secretary of Treasury?
He worked for Goldman Sachs. But when the President announced his intention to nominate me, I withdrew appropriately from a whole range of policy decisions of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, in part to protect the Fed, in part so I could do my job of helping the President prepare for how to fix the mess we inherited. Now, because of that, I was not involved in those decisions.
This happened on November the 11th before you withdrew.
What happened?
This knowledge.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, as I said in my testimony, I was.
Why wasn't it disclosed back then?
Well, we didn't face that choice then.
I believe these are lame excuses. Either you were in charge and did the wrong thing, or you participated in the wrong thing. This, to me, it appears like when you were being confirmed. A lot of controversy surrounded your not paying your taxes. You gave lame excuses then. I believe you're giving the lame excuses now. And my final question is, why shouldn't we ask for your resignation as Secretary of the Treasury?
That the people that were involved in this were not acting in the public interest. And you were suggesting that they were working for the private interest, not the public interest. And that is not true. I would never, and I believe none of those individuals would be ever part of any decision like that.
How can you be the head of the New York Fed and say, oh, I didn't even know what they were doing? So we make him Secretary of the Treasury?
It stretches credulity for us to believe that you had no role in this and didn't know anything about it when your attorneys and people that worked for you were sending emails all around the place, and you were the head of the Fed and you didn't know anything about it. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
That's their sort of their thing in life, to lie to the American people, whether it's the SEC or the Fed, the Treasury, all the rest of these operations, because if they told us the truth, there'd be a revolution, and they don't want that.